Okay, let's talk compensation plan. And of course, I cannot compare Ambit Energy to each and every single compensation plan in the network marketing industry, but what I can do is compare to the averages and show you how Ambit Energy has truly the most powerful compensation plan out there, really because we get paid twice, because we actually gather true retail customers. Which is something that's very unique in network marketing. Typically, you're dealing with a situation where you have internal consumption. All of your products are being purchased by the distributors. 95% of the product consumption is distributors. That's not the case here. We actually, each and every consultant goes out and gathers real, true retail customers that are out there purchasing electricity and natural gas, not because they're in the business, but because they need electricity and natural gas, and we offer it for less. So we essentially get paid twice. We get paid to build it, and we also get paid residually on the back end once it's built with that rock-solid residual income, because electricity and natural gas are very, very residual-based products. So let's talk about an example, and we're going to just run some very generous averages here, and let me make it make sense. We're running a scenario that is the exponential growth scenario where 3 gets 3 gets 3. So if you build a team of 3 distributors, this column is distributors, they each sponsor 3 distributors, that's 9. They each sponsor 3, that's 27, 81, 243, 729, etc., down to where you have over 6,000 distributors on level 6. And that's your leverage. That's your ability to create volume in your business. Now, in the lion's share of the network marketing companies, of course, your volume is being created by the distributors themselves. They're not actually gathering retail customers, they're consuming the products. And on average, the typical network marketing auto ship is typically based around 100 PV, or point value, or commissionable value, which of course is typically products that are truly worth, and you're spending typically $150 or more on, but you only, the commissionable value is only about 100 typically. And so we're going to take a scenario where each distributor is consuming 100 PV, and we're going to take an average of 5% commission on that volume, paid evenly throughout the 8 levels. Now, the 8 levels is very generous. Many compensation plans don't go down 8 levels, but I'm just going to round up and say that, you know, they all do, so that we have a very realistic example here. Now, of course, I'm going to run a scenario where we're using 5% for each and every level. The reality is that some commission plans pay a little bit less up top. They pay out more down here. Some pay, you know, more up front and then less in the middle and then more down low. It varies, but 5% is a very realistic example for this scenario. So let's check it out. We have 3 distributors, first level, that you sponsored. They're each consuming 100 PV a month. That's 300 PV times 5%. That would be $15 of residual income that month. That's where we get the numbers for. 9 distributors consuming 100 volume. That's 900 times 5%. That'd be $45. That's where all of this math comes from. If you do the math all the way across, you can see here your residual income grows from 45 to 135 to 400 to 1215 to over 3,000 to over 10,000 to over 30,000 finally on the last level, which is level 8. Now realize that this, you know, down here, to finally break that $10,000 of quote-unquote residual income, that requires over 2,000 distributors on that one level alone to consume an average of 100 PV a month. That's a lot of volume. That's a lot of volume. Now let's compare that to the residual income paid out by Ambit Energy. We're going to take Ambit's scenario, we're going to use the Ambit's real compensation plan because, well, it is what it is. And we're going to run a scenario where, once again, we have 3 distributors. But each of our distributors, on average, is going to gather 7 real customers, which is a very good realistic average because that's what it is in the business. Some, of course, gather many more than 7, some less, but we're going to use 7 as the average. And then we're going to multiply that times the actual commission paid out on each level, which I don't have them listed here, but I built it into the numbers. So these are real, actual numbers in this scenario. We run the math on that. You're looking at $5 level 1, 31 level 2, 141. You can see the math and watch it grow to where down on level 6, which is we pay 6 generations. We don't pay the 7th and 8th, like I'm giving everybody else 2 additional levels to beat us. Level 6, we pay out $15,000 per month, each and every month. Why? Because that's electricity and natural gas, folks. And that only requires building a team of 700 distributors to do it. If you backed up here and compare this total, okay, if you tally up all of those levels, $21,000 a month, it actually requires you to if you were building it over here, you'd have to build this down all the way through level 7. Okay, you'd have to go all the way down there to even get close to what you can build here with just 6 levels. Okay, and in fact, you've got to go down all 8 levels before you can earn more money and than you can with 6 levels over here. Now, of course, if you add them all up, and you can't see this, or you may or may not be able to, but if you add up all of these levels, that comes to almost $50,000. Okay, almost $50,000. But look what you've got to put in an additional almost 10,000 distributors to get that done. How realistic is that for most people? It's not. But this isn't where Ambit stops. This is just one small aspect of the residual. There's actually another aspect of it that goes to unlimited depth and adds anywhere between an average of, I would say, 20 to 25 to 40% to this number. So I'm not even including that. We're just going to round way down. But that's only one aspect of the comp plan, which is the residual. We haven't even talked about the leadership bonus structure, which is what pays you to build this. See, this is what you get paid residually. Now let's talk about how you got paid along the way to get here. And here's how that works. Well, for each and every distributor that comes into your organization, there is a leadership bonus attached to the action of them going out and getting their first few customers. When every new distributor is introduced to the business, they go out and get their first few customers within 28 days. There's a pretty significant bonus that gets released. Now, not everybody does it within 20 days, so I'm going to use a very rounded down average of 2/3. 2/3 is very realistic. So we're going to say that 2/3 of every distributor hits that bonus, and that bonus gets released to you being in the upline in this scenario. And then I'm actually going to use $55 as the leadership bonus. And the reality is that the leadership bonuses go up to $225. So there's 5 ranks. I'm only going to use actually there's 4 leadership ranks. I'm only going to use the very first leadership rank as far as the bonus amount, which is $55. If you run the math on that, the numbers are going to come out like this. We're looking at $110 for level 1, $330, $990, $29.27, $8,910, and then finally $26,730. Now, this is the upfront. Okay, these bonuses are paid weekly. This is what you get paid as you're building your network, as you're building your leverage that has the ability to gather the customers that pays out this income each and every single month. So if you see that and you add that across, you can see we don't just beat the competition as far as our residual payout, but we really, there's no comparison because we get paid residually and upfront. So you add the two together and you can see why Ambit is truly 2 compensation plans in once. And once again, there's so many other aspects of the compensation plan. We actually pay beyond 6 levels through the leadership structure. There's much more money available, and of course that's the case here. In many other compensation plans, there's other perks, there's profit sharing and such, but I used very realistic numbers, folks. So take a look at that and understand the power of having true retail customers that delivers a residual income that's not just based on your distributors purchasing products and creating the volume for your residual income, because that's very fleeting. The reality is that, here, when the momentum growth, when your team stops growing, so does your income, because attrition starts kicking in very quickly. But over here, if your team stops growing, you still have everybody using their electricity and natural gas, and that's going to stick with you for a long time. So folks, I appreciate you watching this. I know it was a little lengthy. Hope it really helped put things into perspective.